And we are back for another Hobby Hang stream. I am joined by the Warp Forge. We'll set your volume. I think 100% is correct. And go from there. All right, yeah, let's get some hobbying done. How was your week, man? Mine was kind of slow. Not one sec. Hold that there. There we go. Oh, there's only one way, right? Well, sounds like you got everything planned out and ready. You're gonna post that guy to your Instagram? Awesome. I see Nathan Cook in chat. What? He says, "What up, party people?" Oh, things are up. Partying. We are having a hobby party. Well, we can call it a party. But yeah, looking to chip away at this other Stormcast infantry squad. It's just a series of painting men with different melee weapons. So they're charming in their simplicity, I think. Um, however, I did an oopsie. I did an oopsie over here, Warpforge. In my trials and tribulations in setting up the stream, it seems I've forgotten the most crucial element: some water. I do not have, and I cannot paint without water. So I am going to actually just, if you don't mind, Warpforge, I'm just going to step away for a bit. I'll full screen. I'll full screen your footage here, and you can take over the stream for a bit. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Did you miss me? What happened? Did I miss anything crazy? I approve. Did the dream happen? Did it all come together? That's crazy. Holy. uh, but your standard vehicles and monsters. Okay.
My friend was fuming. Which is the fact that like it was the audacity of like this knight that's nearly on could just be one shot by run 1 or 2, and I'm just sat there going like, my friend, you have brought an army, a wall of armor, against an army that wants to try and like, literally bite your ankles. You know what I mean? I'm taking what I can get here.
Well, sounds like you had some decent highlights there from your game in spite of the loss. A little catch up with
Yeah.
chat. Nathan Cook says Howling Griffin Dreadnought painting is happening. Very cool. Love hearing about
Nice.
successors. You know those venerable successor chapters. I can't help but feel they are the proper path. No offense, Warforged. I know you're Night Lord's a guy.
Yeah.
Look, that position is more for the loyalists than traitors. I like the legions as flexing the legions, but on the loyalist side,
Yeah.
I'm really charmed by the successors. Warboss
fair,
Benny,
that's fair.
thank you for pointing out the audio fumble there. Much appreciated. Audio should be back sitting well. So you guys let me know if it's still funky or not.
Indeed. Yeah, no, I get you. Like, I mean, I play Black Templars, so like, I want to say anything. I like them all really. When it comes to loyalists, it's just nice to see some love to more niche chapters and such, as opposed to the big main ones.
Yep. I totally agree. That would look. I'm not a Blood Angels hater per se. I do kind of have some grievances with them, but I would if this is wacko world here, but if that new starter set was flexing some successor chapter on the front, oh boy,
Yeah.
I would be super biased. I'd be like, everybody, the hype is real. 11th edition. It's so exciting. It's finally happening.
All those Crimson Fists, am I right? Against those orcs.
Ah, dude, that's just to me that's like the obvious choice, but I think there's a pretty obvious appeal to nostalgia. Actually, they admitted it, so
Yeah.
it's not any secret information or anything.
They know. Yeah, they know. They absolutely know. and they know how to tap into it. Absolutely. Like you say, like I mean, I still enjoy like a lot of successes. Like I still like Badab War. I am growing
Hell yeah.
I am growing rather fond of Carcharodons as well as the Sons of Medusa.
Dude,
I
you
do
get
like
it.
them.
You get it. See how baller these successor chapters are? Sons of
Yeah,
Medusa
yeah.
look freaking great. Carcharodons also have obvious style. They're a bit more popular. The Raven Guard
Yeah.
successors are actually, you know, I think it's Raptors and Carcharodons carry that hard.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think like for me, what appeals to me with the Carcharodons is the use of their make do aesthetic, where they are using like older gear and such. So you could technically have a firstborn force out of them. And can you just imagine like with all the Horus Heresy kits are around and such, once they get plastic Mark Fives and such, and you can just chop and change them to like a full on like Carcharodon's force. Maybe use something like cornet, like big double-handed axes and such. Just take off all the chaos icons and replace them with, like, say, rows of shark's teeth or something like that. Little trophies here and there. It's the whole rough and tumble rather than the finely attuned that I kind of like about them.
Oh,
And Tiberius is badass.
oh hell yeah! It helps when you have an awesome chapter master. That's defined. It's the same. Some of the the salamanders don't have that. Some of the first founding chapters don't have their chapter masters all established, right? With
Yeah,
they're not codified in the same way as the Carcharodons have. So that's an awesome get for those fans.
indeed.
But I'm with you. I like the rough and tumble, the make do aesthetic. I think that's a good way to frame it.
Yeah, because I mean, like I say, I like the Carcharodons under the theory that they are the exiled Raven Guard from the Heresy, the ones that Korax, the rich ones that Korax just basically said, no, get off my lawn, off your pop, bye, and exiled them, and that and over like these over the course of the Scouring and then the Codex Astartes, they've come to be what they are. So they've come to make do and such. Now they are the guardians of the outer dark kind of thing. I like that idea of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then like obviously space sharks is space sharks. Shark.
No, it's fun. I'm a big believer that your Space Marine chapter should sound a little cheesy to fit in canonically, to fit in tastefully, let's say.
Yeah.
Like it should be like 25% cheesy at least.
Have a bit of fun with it, yeah.
Yeah, like
No,
space
okay,
sharks,
yeah.
you know. And then you know your high gothic Carcharodons, but you know, is that how that works? High gothic Carcharodons, low gothic space sharks, or is that just internet memes?
High Gothic's Carcharodons, so probably low Gothic would be. Yeah, so probably that definitely.
I like
Yeah.
it. I won't lie, for my little collection, it's really just a squad of those White Scar successor space stallions. That name was inspired by the space sharks.
Yeah.
You gotta sound
nice.
a little cheesy.
Gotta have a bit of fun with it, yeah. No, absolutely. It's like my current warband name for my Night Lords is called the Nox Mortis. What's that translated from? The Night Death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, Night Death. Yeah. Saturday morning cartoon of the themes already.
You gotta have a little bit of cheese factor.
Exactly. And something you can have a bit of fun with in lore as well. Like you can have like, so the Night Lords really take themselves, like the Astartes side take themselves really seriously, but like any of the mortal crew, they don't say it publicly to them, of course, but they once they figure out like what the translation is, like really, and so they'll have a little bit of fun with it. Oh dear.
I gave this guy like white blue hair, so I was just having some fun with these unhelmeted Stormcast. And I don't know if I should if I'm gonna commit to this. I'm kind of on the fence with it. I was thinking of like Fire Emblem characters. You know, you have your
Yeah.
I think classic Fire Emblem anyways. Where you have your guys with wacky hair colors in like regular, well not regular, but more standard armor. So it's kind of inspired by that approach. But I don't know if I love this particular guy here.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if he just gets a brown contrast paint over. I think that's the saving grace with trying a weird, bright color scheme.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sometimes you just gotta trust the process.
Man, I'm wrapping up a campaign for my local playgroup this weekend. So I haven't had a ton of I didn't have a meaty video on the channel. But I also didn't have time to check out any of the Warhammer community stuff for new rules.
Yeah, neither have I.
Any revelations? Oh, you haven't either? That's fine.
I took a quick glance.
I think chat should inform me. Chat, what is happening?
Yeah.
What is happening with 11th edition?
Like, it's weird for me because I took a quick skim through, and obviously, it's just a quick skim, so I could be wrong. But it just sounds as though like how I've been playing like objectives all in 10th edition. The only difference is it's within like an area of terrain piece instead of being a circle. So I'm just sat there going like, okay. One thing that stood out to me is that they are making differentiations on height when it comes to vehicles. So things like boccages, low walls, barricades, stuff like that. A tank can drive over them now rather than just being stuck in a traffic jam kind of thing. So terrain's going to be a little bit more flexible for tanks and such now. For maneuverability.
That's very good because it's a huge problem. That's an expected change. Good. You don't get a ton of brownie points for me for doing the things that are expected, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, these are expected problems that, in all honesty, probably should have been just fact for quality of life. So
yeah,
it's like I'm not gonna bend over and be like, oh, amazing job, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought the mission framing is interesting. I like that space.
Yeah.
Nathan Cook says, I'm kind of into the different primary objectives. Same. I feel...
Yeah.
I think if it means that if you play one army only and you'll have a more varying experiences, I think that's a win.
Yeah.
Right? You fight Eldar,
absolutely.
they're doing they have a different aim than when you fight orcs, right? That appeals to me. That very much appeals to me. Yeah, and it wasn't is a good example of a change I did not really have on the bingo card of obvious things that should be changed. So
yeah.
A bit of novelty. Is good if you're moving to a new edition.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to take an experiment on this sergeant here, or squad leader. I don't think Age of Sigmar has, that sort of granularity. In lore, he's the sergeant or champion, but everything's very simplified over in that game system, which is fine. I've come to this conclusion that, Games Workshop definitely seems wanting to simplify and rein in the rules of 40k to be more like Age of Sigmar, and because in Age of Sigmar, there's no precedent set for all, multiple war gear, more granularity, all this kind of little features. I'm not missing them, and I'm not longing for them. Whereas in 40k, I have the concept of the Chaos Lord should be able to access his armory. Like that's the way it's always been. I can't help but point to that comparison, and then it bothers me. In Age of
Yeah.
Sigmar, not so much. It's
Yeah.
I guess it's like a familiarity bias. I guess you could call it that.
Indeed, indeed. I get you. Like, Age of Sigmar has, like, especially when you start in it, like, because you don't have an established collection already, you don't have the preconceptions of I want this guy to do this, I want this guy to do this. Why can't he do this? He could before. So you don't have that. So it's more of a you can just take it as it is, and you're all right with it.
Yeah,
Your models are safe.
There's no old codex you can look back to where you're like, oh, this is the page of the whole armory, and all your units can access the armory, right? Like there's no paradigm that you can point to. So even though it's effectively like the same aim, just because 40k had the options, it just bothers me more to see them go away. Whereas in AOS, I'm not as bothered, even though it's effectively the same situation. So it's a weird sort of thing I'm finding with just my own feelings, I guess, on how I perceive these two different game systems.
Yeah. I get you. Like, for me, it's like, sometimes, like, the granularity can be alright in 40k. Sometimes I do think a little bit of streamlining is fine. Like, for example, I know, spicy take, people are going to argue with us on this, but things like combi weapons now just having one singular stat line, I personally don't mind that as much, because to me that's a form of streamlining that should, in theory, make the game flow easier, and it also means models and rule of cool is a little bit more accessible.
I disagree with you, but
like for me, it's
I
like
see your point.
For me,
I see your point.
Yeah, for me, it's like heroes and characters. Sure, go all ham on them because they are things. But like units, the amount of times you'll troll for hours on eBay just to find someone selling, like say a combi melter. All right, I just want a 50p combi melter, and it's a fiver, and it's a £3 postage, so it's going to be a tenner for just one thing. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I guess where I land on that is, and I see your point. It's not meritless. I just like that. I like the trade-off. I think it's worth it. I like when now I don't think they need to be as complicated to use, having these multiple profiles. I'm actually okay if the combi melta only fires the melta once per game. I'm okay with that even. I don't think that's I like when war gear is what matters. So I do have a bias and preference there. So I like when a melta gun, you look at a melta gun, you look at a combi melta, and you get it. It makes sense, right? And the combi weapons are, I don't want to say they're iconic necessarily, but there is a pretty classic appeal to what that weapon is for Space Marines. It's kind of cool. Kind of like a cool thing your sergeants and champions would be able to flex and be like, holy crap, the sergeant has not just a bolt gun, not just a plasma gun, combi plasma. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know, absolutely. I get you.
That's kind of like my best defense for wanting the complexity there. I do think you could have simplification. Is that the word? Streamlining.
Yeah. No, I get you.
In other areas, I'm not opposed to streamlining. Right?
Yeah. I get you. Got to do this hand. Cool.
Thomas Robb says, what advice would you give someone just starting out in the hobby? My first couple of minis have been kind of disheartening. From a hobby point of view, Thomas, just starting out, is the challenge you're having just the painting of miniatures has not been going well. It is, broadly speaking, a skill which you get to watch yourself become better at over time. And for some, if you're on the more creative side of the hobby, that's a very rewarding experience. That's how I feel, because that's how I lean. I with great satisfaction when you get better, when you acquire a new skill, when you're like, holy crap, I know how to do plasma glow or something like that, right? There's so many different little aesthetics and accessories and I guess little recipes that you can kind of unlock for yourself in terms of like your skill acquisition on the hobby side, anyways. I don't want to just say it's a matter of getting good. That's not very constructive. But maybe if you explain a bit more about the specifics around your challenges, I can try to suggest a few things, and so can Chat and Warpforge as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's just tell me more. Tell me more. Yeah. You know, it's like I have a bunch of cool videos on the channel about cool hobby projects I've done. Some of those videos are instructional, some of them are more of a showcase, just sharing like the process and the outcome. But that's not, I only show the successful ones. I don't show the botch jobs of like conversions that have failed, right? Where it's like, oh, let me try this idea, and it's like, oh, that experiment was, the exploratory surgery didn't pan out on that one. Is how I frame a lot of those, right?
Yeah. Alright, okay, so trying to see if I've missed any armor bits out before I move on to the next stage on this blue.
Okay. Thomas Robb says, oh, there's specificity. I'm getting into the hobby in my 30s, and I have found controlling the brush really feels like my biggest hang-up, specifically when I do layers and fine details. Okay, brush control. Brush control is it's a motor skill, and like motor skills, like as you keep doing them, you will develop finer degrees of control. I'm a big fan of the anchoring, so I usually anchor with my pinky, and so I'll just try and demonstrate it here. So I'll just anchor with my pinky on the handle, and that kind of allows for much less wibbly wobbly, because if I don't anchor my hand, which is holding the brush, then it's just like very difficult to kind of just stay precise, and without any paint on the brush, if I were to try and paint these little spikes, like, oh, like this is so difficult just to try and keep alignment. But once you can anchor, you get much more control, and you can just kind of that's like the biggest tip and trick about brush steadiness I can give if you're not doing that already.
Yeah, I mean, the way I do it is see the two rings around a paintbrush, hold it like a pen, you've got control. And then the trick is always keep it at an angle with the bristles downwards, because paint travels downwards. If you do it directly downwards, it'll come out and it'll dry quite quickly. But if you do it at an angle, you can then control the paint and such. Like as I'm doing here, I don't know if you can see this because my camera will be crap. But here's this tiny little bit. I've done a little bit of a mix here. I'm about to apply it here. And there we go. It also helps that I know how thick pigments are in my paints. So I've grown to learn that Games Workshop really thicken their paints. meanwhile, like say Duncan Road's Too Thin Coats or Vallejo Game Color or other paints have thinner qualities, so they flow a lot easier. A good example is, as a comparative difference, is when I'm doing other blues and such, they can flow quite well. Say when I was doing the freehand on these red spirals here on my Warpsmith, I had a big issue. I had to paint over them a few times because I was using Games Workshop's Mephiston Red. Even with a wet palette, it was still really thick. So I was getting halfway through a spiral and it was already drying out on the bristles on the brush. And then it was obviously making a lot of streaky mistakes and such. But when I use other paints, like say, where is it? Yes, that's it. Too Thin Coats Sanguine Scarlet. This is thinner, so it flows a lot better. So therefore, it naturally takes a little bit longer to dry, but it flows a lot better. And because it's thinner, you can also build it up in layers. Sometimes it's just known about like how thick your paints are. Sometimes Games Workshop I found do the thickest paints, and I think that's because they're trying to be accessible to everyone. I think that one's like where people just want to get models painted and done. They'll either use contrast or they'll get some base coats, get it done, get it sorted, minimal brush streaks. It's just wham bam done. But as you get more experienced, as Kuiper said, sometimes you'll notice these things, and on the journey you'll then want to begin trying out other paints, or you'll learn to really thin down Games Workshop paints, for example, just to get it to flow a little bit better. Because I have, like, it's one of the reasons why I don't really do freehand as much, is because every time I do attempt freehand, you get something like the example I've just said above, where it's like I'll be halfway through it and then the paint will stop. I can see the paint's on the brush and I'm angling it and all that, but because it's that thick, it's just dried up on the spot, so I have to wash it over and do it all over again, and then I make mistakes and you have to paint over the whole entire thing, and it gets very frustrating. For me, like I say, for me, it's like it's something that gets learnt along the way. Like, I didn't start off with my Night Lords looking like this. They were a lot more basic, 3 colours, a wash down on the trims. The trims were bright gold with a brown wash. Lightning marks are very sketchy.
That's a very good point to keep in mind, and I think it's one. It looks like Nathan Cook has also pointed out in chat. He says one thing I can find brutal for learning is watching and comparing to Golden Demon or Slayer Sword winners. If you're getting paint on models, that's further than 90% of people get with Warhammer.
Yeah.
I fully endorse that comment.
Yeah.
Approved.
I think
fully
approved. To build on that, I also think it's important to notice, because I don't think a lot, especially the big painters who have big paint channels and such for miniature war games, a lot of them edit their content. So, like for shorts and such, so when they paint a model, it looks like they've got it done in 60 seconds, but they've cut away swathes of time that they've been painting on. So what looks like something was achieved in 15 minutes probably actually took 3.5 hours to do at the most, or at least.
And you can caveat that with the hundreds of hours they've spent to get that good.
Yeah.
Right? Which there's no disclaimer on the videos of sweet Instagram like painters, right? Or the Golden Demon winners and the top dogs on such platforms.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, hopefully those tips help you there, Thomas, Rob.
Yeah.
You can always do the old, if you're trying to verify paint flow consistency on your brush or wet palette, doing a little test paint on your fingernail is a pretty tried and true, pretty common method. Your fingernails are a fair approximation of like the surface of the model, so that does help. If you're like, oh, is my paint thin enough? Is it too thick? How can I verify? Oh, just give it the old fingernail. All right, for this guy, I think I'm gonna try a little shortcut. I'm gonna try a dry brush a little bit, a controlled dry brush, and then null and oil, and we'll see if I can get away with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then the silvers after. No, we got null and oil silvers first because I want to darken. I want null and oil on the silvers. Whoops. Thomas Robb says, I really appreciate all the advice. It's reassuring. The points about bracing and the paint make total sense. I guess I'm probably setting unrealistic expectations for myself. It's possible, without seeing and doing any sort of verification in person. That is I think a common pitfall for people just starting in. Right? Now mind you, because you have all of this information, you're in a much better place to get good fast compared to hobbyists from like the old days when all you could, at best, you'd get a white dwarf or something and see like, oh, that's how I can approach that painting of metal. I could do it that way. Oh, that's how I could do eye lenses, right? Now with like YouTube and other social media, there's loads of channels to show like, oh, how should I do power weapons, right? And it's like, oh, that's a good trick. So the information is a real boon in that sense, but it can be a trap. It can be a trap.
It still requires practice even when you watch it.
Yep, I agree.
It's like when I get down to my Black Templars, I'm going to use like a few test models before I actually commit. Always, if you've got like a few test models or models that you don't usually use in continuous lists, always give them a try out first, just so that you give it a go, give it a practice, see what you like, what you don't like. And then when you get to the models that you do use on a continuous basis, you've got that frame of reference and you've got that template in mind of what you're doing now, so you don't feel disheartened if it doesn't come out the way you expect it to. But yeah. Oh dear. There we go. Dealing with Night Lord's trim, I see. Depends. Rule of cool. Thing with Night Lords, especially with the trim, is it's all everywhere. If you want to do it silver, you can. If you want to do it gold, you can. I prefer bronze. I usually just use a little bit of. If you just bear with me, either I use Balthazar gold or I use a little bit of steampunk copper. Use the trims and then I wash it down in a blue wash. I swear by Tempest Blue Wash. And then that's what cools it all down, as you can see on the model. And then, like I say, I'm just getting it all sorted. And then after that, it's just a little bit of this and that.
Thomas Robb says, starting Night Lords. Very cool. Great choice. Very stylish. They got a lot of swag. That That's 7th Legion. That's 7th Legion, right?
Ooh. 8th Legion.
8th Legion. Oh yeah.
I think 7th Legion's
Fists.
Imperial Fists, isn't it?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds right. Yeah, Night Lord's got a lot of style. Great aesthetic.
They do. They do indeed. I love Night Lords because to me they are the gothic horror movie Marines.
Mm-hmm.
They are the true vampire Marine Legion. But don't let the Blood Angels players hear that.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I don't love about Blood Angels. In any case, referring back to the challenges of painting, I think there is something to this idea that the Night Lords have, while their aesthetic is really good, it's an aesthetic that requires a higher skill floor to make it turn out and read well. I think it's a higher difficulty level, let's say, Thomas, right? Not to discourage you. I think you gotta hobby what you're jiving, right? Always. But that's just something to kind of keep in mind so you don't discourage yourself and feel bad. Basically, you're aiming higher, so to speak. Compared to the painting Blue Ultramarines, very simple, very easy to read. You can kind of get away with more tricks. I find dark armor is quite challenging in terms of readability. Dark armor color schemes, right? Because you can't just lean on light to carry the readability for you. You have to do more edge highlighting. You have to do more maybe subtle layering. And it looks banging when it comes together, don't get me wrong. But it's harder to make it look good, in all honesty, right? You can see, especially in the contrast age, armies like White Scars or Imperial Fists have really become more accessible. And, it's not fancy paintwork to just put yellow contrast over a white primer. But the readability is awesome. This is awesome. And unfortunately, I feel like I'm correct on this. I think black or dark colored schemes they have a harder time getting their readability across.
Yeah. They can indeed. Ultimately, like any other paint scheme, it just takes practice. Like, I would say, like, obviously, like as I said, there's a plethora of knowledge out there. Have a look, ask the styles. Like when I got my Night Lords to look like this, I looked on Instagram and YouTube far and wide. I even like private messaged painters and such, going, "How'd you do this? How'd you do that?" Usually, people tend to be quite helpful if you're asking like, "How did you achieve certain scores and such?" But it took me quite a few attempts before I found like my little place with my boys. But yeah, I'm doing the whole thing. Yeah, indeed, and I'm going to do the whole thing again with Black Templars. But yes, you never stop learning. That's also another important thing. You never stop learning.
Thomas Robb says, any tips for dealing with trim, which Warpforge already covered. Trim's a weird one. There's some people like painting trim last, some people like painting it first and painting everything else. I think on the whole, I'm usually a paint trim afterwards guy. Maybe with some exceptions depending on how egregious a particular unit may be. But I think, yeah, generally speaking, I'm a big fan of painting inside to outside. In terms of like the layers of like different armor or accessories. Thomas Robb says maybe I'll grab some Legionaries and just take a couple swings at those.
Yeah.
Yeah, test models are definitely your friend. You can try your hand at a Games Workshop store in your area, maybe. Sometimes they are, depending on the manager. It's very much depending on that. They're more generous with their models of the month. Sometimes they have old ones lying around from, you know, when models of the month were legionaries, and they're happy to kind of, like, if they know you're new and you're not just trying to get a free box of Chaos Space Marines, they're pretty helpful. But again, depends on the manager. Yeah, if you have access to anyone with a 3D printer, that is also a good way to do test models and test schemes.
Indeed.
I don't know if a helmet is enough. You kind of to appreciate the allure of the Chaos Space Marine. I think you need a generous amount of model to paint. You need to see the trim and the armor and the cloth and everything working together.
Yeah, indeed. Like, I personally prefer paint and trim first, because what you have to remember with Chaos Space Marines, especially with Chaos Space Marines, painting trim is a rite of passage at this point. It really is. Once you've painted the trim, you know what you're set up for. So I usually paint trim first because it gets it out the way with. Secondly, because I am quite messy with how I apply my washes. I apply my washes quite liberally and just fly it around. Because I'm using a lot of blue wash to like cool down the bronze and such. I don't mind if it gets a little bit on the main armor and this and that, because I know I'm going to paint over it with the armor colors, and a little bit of a blue tint is not going to hurt the overall midnight blue aesthetic that I'm trying to go for here. So like I say, it is preference. I prefer paint and trim first because, God, yeah, I just get it out of the way with. I don't have to look at it again. It's an achievement in and of itself. If you're a Black Legion player, all you need to do is just the trim and wash it down or something. You're golden. But yeah.
Yeah, it is a preference thing ultimately.
Indeed.
And this guy is kind of bug-eyed here now that I'm looking at him again. You ever have that happen to you, Warpforge or chat? You know, you're painting a model in one session and you're like, oh, that's looking pretty good. You come back to the next thing, you're like, what is this?
Oh yes.
What
Especially in my younger
doing
days.
over here?
My main line is, "Oh, I see. I got a bit too excited there, didn't I? Oh, oh dear. Right. Okay. So I just need a little bit more. Just need a little bit of a kill this guy.
I wonder if my paint from the last hobby session I had was... Oh, it's alive. It lives. It lives. Try and clean that up a bit.
Indeed. Bummy. Let's take a little bit of that.
Cheers, Thomas Rob. Thanks for tuning in. Gotta paint these belt buckles. Totally forgot about the belt buckles here. Yeah, I have 2 videos planned on the channel for sure. One is going to be a size comparison, a kind of victory lap, but also like where we are currently with the various sizes of Marines. The other is going to be a hobby video. I don't know if it'll be a full like watch me build the entirety of it, but I have a Diablo Angel conversion in mind for the... I want to call her Yvraine, but it's not called Yvraine. The Age of Sigmar Stormcast Eternal character who's an angel.
Black Talon?
No.
Yanandra or something.
Yeah, Yndrasta. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
No go.
Yeah, that's what she's called. Almost certain it's called Yndrasta. But yeah, I want to make her like how I've made those other winged guys. Give her a cool hood, modify the pose a little bit with some green stuff. So that'll be more of a creative, I guess, hobby hobby vlog style video. Which
Yeah,
I'm
sounds
pretty
good. Sounds
confident
good.
it'll turn out solid because I've done the concept on the lesser winged guys, the prosecutors. I had to look up what they were called because I couldn't remember prosecutors. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of when the names really speak to how they function. You know, you look at
Yeah.
Space Marine Jump Pack unit. Oh, they're called raptors because like predatory birds. Okay, I get it. Makes sense. They have talons, just like predatory birds, right? When you have a name like prosecutors, what even is this, right? That could be anything. It literally could be anything.
Indeed, indeed. Sometimes it's just about the rule of cool.
Yeah, it's not the most inspired naming convention. You see that a lot on some of the Primaris, not all of them.
Yeah.
Some of the. It'll be interesting to see.
You see it a lot in Space Wolves.
Yeah, probably. I would think so.
What, like Thunderwolf Cavalry and Wolfen?
Yeah, I'll play defense for the Thunderwolf Cavalry because at least cavalry's in the name. At least.
At least, fair enough.
Wolfen, you could have called the head takers, those Blade Guard guys, Wolfen too, right? Like that name could be like, oh, they're Space Wolf Warriors, Wolfen. Okay, fine. A little bit. It's not as bad as like the aggressor. Like what the hell is that for a name? You know what I'm saying?
Aggressor.
Like, okay, this guy's I guess aggressive. Thanks for telling me what you are. Like,
yeah. It's like, yes, get your aggressors now from Fisher Price.
Yeah, it's I like when things are named what they are. You know, like a heavy weapon team. You know, it's good.
Yeah.
Great name.
Yeah. I get you. Right, okay. Thank you. Right. Oh, he's really popped out, hasn't he? Ooh, very poppy. Right. Just need to.
That's your Warpsmith, right?
This is my jump law that I'm painting. I've done the Warpsmith.
Oh, gotcha.
This guy's just appearing very quite blue, but that's just because I'm trying to highlight. Well, I say highlight, just make a final, I guess, light coat of just pure, what's it called? Kildor Sky. It's
I like that color.
blue, but yeah, it's alright. It's alright.
That's for your highlighting?
For the main bit, and then I do the highlight, which is a bit of Kildor Sky and a bit of Lothan Blue. A little bit of 50-50 mix.
Nice. Yeah, good colors.
Indeed. And then after that, it's just a pure like edge highlight or like dot highlights of Lothan Blue. Like, admittedly, I don't highlight all my models in my army. I only do edge highlights on centerpiece models like leaders. So like these guys, I'm spending time with them because they are going to be leading the units, you know? Other stuff just gets a little bit of blue here, a little bit of blue there. Badgy bash, there you go, enjoy.
I think that's a perfectly reasonable standard, right? Like,
indeed,
the characters are the heart of the army, is often, right?
Indeed, indeed.
Makes more sense to give them a bit more attention.
A bit more oomph. Yeah, absolutely. Plus, it just means as though like I can still enjoy the models that I've painted like in mass, like my Chosen, my Legionaries, and such. But it also means that I'm actually getting models done, and I'm not painstakingly spending like say a month on like 10 guys. just out of edge highlights and such.
No, I laugh because it's like, oh, I've definitely done that a couple times.
Sometimes you do lose yourself.
Yeah, I put a lot of in my like Eldar Phoenix Lord / Aspect Warrior collection. I painted those like definitely above your standard amount of effort per guy, but it is only a squad of 5.
Yeah,
and they are very elite, you know. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's you have to choose your battles, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good rule of thumb, right? I know one guy. It's my friend's buddy. Well, I guess he's my buddy too. He is like the most meticulous orc painter I've ever met. We had a hobby jam like over a weekend, just hanging out.
Yeah,
Painting,
getting the pizzas.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get you.
Enjoying the vibes with some music on, that kind of thing. And this guy spent the whole weekend painting striped pants on his orcs because he wanted this one squad, to have different pants than the other squad. And I support it. Like that's that's your love. You gotta lean into what you like about the hobby. I'm a big fan. I'm a big proponent of that. And if painting stripes on your orc pants is what satisfies your hobby heart, go get it, man.
Indeed. If it makes you happy, go for it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't stop me calling you a mad lad, but
yeah, like this is a guy who like barely ever plays. Like, if I were to guess, I haven't spoken to him in a while, but if I had to guess, he probably hasn't played since like 8th or 9th edition. Right? He'll get like one or 2 games per edition, maybe, right? But he just likes to paint. Buys lots of painting supplies, painting sets, that kind of stuff. He just likes making awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And everyone else gets the benefit, really. So
yeah, no,
cool.
Absolutely. Indeed. Go on, there we go. What else? Don't really want to paint the crotch in the right blue, but I do want to highlight those edges. Lovely. And now just a little bit Lothern blue. Yeah, I love painting.
Yeah, I love it. That's a funny soundbite, dude.
Yeah. I love, I'll say it with gritted teeth. I love painting, me.
That's funny. But we have fun here.
Indeed. It's like I say, it is one of those things. So it's like, I'm doing my edge highlights. Trying to be really articulate, and you hold your breath and all sorts, just to make sure.
Yeah, I've found shortcuts on edge highlighting goes a super long way.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of these things where you pick your battles. Like on my salamanders, I only highlight the armor. I don't bother highlighting anything metal. Actually, I highlight. Okay, you know what? It's the exception. I just don't highlight metal for that army. I'm just saying, well, everything else is highlighting. Everything else reads. You have that good definition on. You have your good edge definition for readability, and I just don't think the effort would be worthwhile to edge highlight the metal at that point. When I look at it, I'm like, what would the benefit be at this point to also edge highlight that, right? And it's like, not really worth it.
Yeah, I get you.
Nathan Cook says, I have the same response to painting checkers. I get it.
Pour one out for the Lamenters players.
actually have a Lamenter's buddy who painstakingly paints his checkers. I'm like, you know what? You're the hero we deserve.
Indeed. More power to you. I've got a Lamenter's friend as well. They did a really lovely Malachim Pharos kit bash way back in 7th. I loved it because it felt natural and didn't feel forced because it wasn't overly bedecked. It was still clearly a Blood Angel model. It was like, here's your Sanguinary Guard, like front torso and such. You got the melter pistol. He's got this like melee weapon, which I can't remember if it was a chainsaw or a sword, but it actually looked like a proper chapter master. It didn't look like something that was too out there, out of scope kind of thing.
Ah, tasteful is the
Yeah.
sense in. Okay, nice. Look, I love me a tasteful conversion, especially if it's like. Well, I think I always like it, if I'm being honest. But when you're kit bashing for a model that doesn't exist, like the old Bad App characters, well, some of them, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah,
indeed.
That's the beauty. That's the charm. You're like, oh man, look, that I can believe. I look at your conversion and I can believe. That's what he would be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crap, I forgot to paint the belt buckle on this lady. Is my paint still alive? Oh, curses. Foiled again. Okay.
Right. Do I have can I use a little bit of that red, or is it dried up? I can use a little bit of that red. Right. Let's see. There we go. A little bit of edge highlighting on the wings. Lovely, 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 lovely.
I feel like I need a tiny dry brush. Even tinier, like.
Yeah.
Let me just do an experiment here.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think that'll work. Okay, let's continue washing these metals. How are you sitting for time, Warforge?
I'm fine. For any time really. I haven't really paid attention to the time. I've literally just been at this
It's locked in, eh?
jump lord. Yeah, I've just been locked in getting this blue armor done. And I've done the blue armor. I'm now finishing up the reds. I'm basically just highlighting the veins, I guess, the red veins on the bat wings and such, just to like bring it out a little bit more. Ooh.
Right on. Yeah, we're about like an hour in or so, but I'm not looking to wrap up immediately or anything.
That's fair.
Just checking in.
That's fair.
Just checking in with you.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm literally locked in because I want to get this model done. I want to get like I've started. I've got a taste for like finishing models now.
You got a taste for it.
Want to start?
Feels
Exactly.
good.
Getting a taste.
It's a good feeling.
All right.
Like, oh,
Indeed.
Shit. I like to keep like a model that I've finished on my desk for a little while. It's like, oh, look at that guy.
Yeah.
I don't put it away.
I got a little glass cabinet. Yeah, I got a little glass cabinet over there. I'm like, well, hey, that's where painted models go. That I'm quite happy with.
Nice.
It's a little bit off. I don't know why it's off. So it's really, really thin now.
Definitely not liking this guy's hair color. I think I have to make it a bit brighter. We'll come back to him. Just perusing the old Warhammer community while we're hobbying and hanging. Taking a break, a little hobby break.
Yeah.
It seems like we got some terrain, some obscuring terrain definitions. It seems to be working the same way. I'm just looking at pictures though.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Where is the night sky? There it is.
It seems to be working the same way, but now obscuring. You have this additional a detection range is what you have in addition to what we have now. So you have to be within 15 if that unit hasn't revealed themselves, basically. Which, I don't hate that. You can see the design philosophies from Kill Team filtering over. It makes sense. Like, no one wants to paint all their army to show up and just get blasted turn one.
Oh yeah, I feel that one.
You know, like if I put my units out there and try to do a thing, and maybe dice don't go a certain way, or I'm doing an action or something, or I've shot at you, right? Yeah, blast me all day. I put myself out there.
Yeah. Like, I'm sat there and I'm going, like, for me, it's like, I understand what they're doing with this, but this is one of those ones where I feel it's like, it's theory versus execution. I can see what they're trying to do here. However, it's like, for example, if I was wanting to play like a deep strike army, okay, the 15 inches is nice and all, until you realize that you have to deep strike 9 inches away, and I want to charge as well, and I can't. And then suddenly that 15 inches means nothing.
Sorry, walk me through that.
So hidden is like, yeah, so say you deep strike within 9 inches of an enemy unit, right? You're within 15 inches at that point, you can be shot at.
Oh, right, yeah, so deep striking and shooting still on the table is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. Which is fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. It's just like, is there any way to make the gap closing a little bit more accessible? But that's just me, purely me from my warp tones.
I think rapid ingress is assuming where that paradigm carries over from 10th, rapid ingress is the way you melee deep strike. Unless you have a lot of pluses and rerolls, it's such a gambit, and it's just not worth it. Deep striking and shooting all day, every day. It's no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I have this gut intuition around 11th, and it's just based on the way editions lean as we go from one to another between shooting and melee. So I suspect melee will be more favored in 11th. For what it's worth, so that should help your warp talons do what they want to do.
Indeed. I mean, I was having a bit of a laugh with Morning Glory on his stream the other day, because he was talking about the hidden rule and such, and I was thinking, so I just made a little highlight and just said, yeah, you know that when Tau get their release, the Marklights are just going to remove the hidden rule, right? Knowing Tau to be Tau.
Look, I'm not opposed to that. I mean, you know, it all comes down to execution, of course, right? But yeah, I'm not a fan of, like, your army is just crap because the edition favors the opposite. I think it's on the designers to make Tau a shooting-only army, basically, function in editions where, you know, melee is more favored or not. So, and if they have to work to turn that off, then awesome. If it's just an oath of moment, I just choose, that's unexciting and boring to me. But if you have to use your rules, if you have to use your marker lights to kind of, you know, combine, I think of older editions when they had a table of marker lights, and you know, if it's something in that area, in that ballpark,
if you have to actually work towards the goal to do that, you can.
And then take away my hidden. And at that point, then that also means I can't fight Tau the same way I fight Eldar, for example. Yeah. So I'm cool. Yeah. You know, in theory, anyways.
If they work towards a goal and it has to take resource on effort for them to do so, sure. I just remember the days of from like 6th to 7th edition and a little bit of 8th edition as well, where it's like, it is 2018. Sorry, it is 2017. I'm playing against Markerlight Spam. It is 2018. I am still playing against Markerlight Spam. It is 2027. I am playing against Markerlight Spam.
Hey, if that's their thing, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I liked, and again, this just shows my war gear bias. I liked when marker lights were a thing you could lean into more or less. It wasn't just a guiding or not guiding thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that would come back because, you know, GW seems to not want to make things lean on war gear.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
Yeah.
You know, there's a trade-off there either way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I never collected Tau, but I always admired the marker light table, and that you could do things to like fix your indirect by stacking more marker lights, that kind of.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of systems that allow you to play.
Yeah. Like, for me, I think it's just I've been on the receiving end too many times. Like, I know I have to start a Tau army with a friend because I made a botched up deal with them. So I'm doing fight set enclaves because I'm not doing the twin lands. Like, I know how good they are, this and that and that and this. They radiate gotta kick Spartan lock in the balls energy to me. I'm like, no, I gotta do the OG. I gotta do the red boy. So I'm doing fast set enclaves, but I said I wanted to do more Tau Empire because I like the idea of like the collation of aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So like I like the resin, I like the fine cast, the metal what you call them, the Vespids back in the day. Never got them because I never started Tau, but I did like the models, and now they've been updated in plastic. The crew a little bit here and there, but I'm mostly into like all the other stuff. So I wouldn't mind having a few like Vespid here and there, followed up by like Fisher Fury, where it is just the Fire Warrior cast and Fire cast. I'm more interested in that than just doing what everyone else does, and that's just spam battle suits everywhere. Like, I understand the Gundam is real, right? It's there. It's just
no, I align with you on that. I kind of it's a novelty thing, right? When you see, I think for me that's where it comes from, right? Because when you see like the battle suit spam, and that is their unique thing that is theirs effectively, right?
Yeah.
But when you see it everywhere, I become more charmed by boots on the ground, Fisher Fury kind of thing, or just like broadsides and hammerheads and skyrays. And just seeing a lot, almost like you're playing Imperial Guard, just like men and their tanks, but these tanks float.
Yeah,
and they're better than your tanks because they're awesome.
Yeah,
well, they should be, right? You know, like a hammerhead. I don't know if this is heresy. I feel like a hammerhead should be better than a Rogel Dorn battle tank. I just feel like it should.
I think some people remember would say that it already is.
I remember reading stories of like hammerheads blasting through like rows, like platoons or squadrons of Leman Russes, right? Because it's so deadly. Is it better than a Rogel Thorn right now? I don't know. Maybe in certain scenarios, but on the
I mean,
whole, I don't think it is. I think
isn't
the weight of
yeah like
dice
is
just carries the Rogel Thorn.
yeah. I mean, is it like the way I see it is right? It's like the Vanquisher battle cannon. It's got a massive strength 20 gun that does d6 + 6 damage, or you get 2 shots with it. So that's potentially 12 damage on base plus 2d6. That's at strength 20. So the only things that can like out toughness that vehicle, I believe, is Warlord Titans, but I could be wrong on that.
No, I think that's a fair assessment, even if there's a few exceptions here and there. The challenge. Okay, so I feel about the hammerhead. What is it? Railgun. The railgun hammerhead. I feel about it the same way I feel about the rupture cannon on the Tyrannofax. It's
Yeah,
awesome to have the big FU gun, right?
the BFG, yes.
It feels so good when you're painting it and you're looking at the stats. You're like, oh fuck yeah, this is awesome, right? Look at this gun.
Yeah,
Look at this weapon. Feels amazing. But I, when you play with these low volume weapons that have really good stats, they are really hurt by things like smokescreen. So like the Rogel Dorn uses his smokescreen against your hammerhead, and then you're much more likely to miss because you only have two shots, and there's probably an invulnerable save there. So unless you roll the devastating one on the 6, it's just too much is left to dice with these BFG guns, and I really feel that the BFG guns
yeah,
in every faction that has them, these low volume, statted to hell weapons, they need to have
yeah,
they need to be respected and have rules to allow them to perform at parity to compensate for their lack of volume, because the attack sequence just favors volume of dice, like
yeah.
vast, like
Well,
by degrees. By degrees, you're better off the more dice you can roll effectively. Um, I think I don't think that's a bold claim at all.
yeah, yeah. Like I say, it. I think half of it is, as you said. I think another half of it is terrain layouts and what terrain layouts you're playing, especially in a competitive theatre. Because Rogel Dawns, I've seen like the amount of times I've seen, at least here in the UK, and people pick up a Rogel Dawn. And don't get wrong, I've got 2 in the back, and I'm going to get a third one because I'm doing the Combat Patrol subscription such. Um, I also like a big beefy tank. Uh, However, when people are playing on, say, UKTC terrain, good luck trying to move those things around. People try with them, but I think it, like say, like if you're playing on more American layouts like ITC and such, you're going to have a better time for the Dawn because there's more arcs of fire, there's more firing lanes for you to shoot, and they get a lot more maneuverability. A lot around here, or at least when I've seen people try to play Rogel Dawns, they don't really do much other than just sit and try and be a fire base. They don't really move or do anything on objectives. They just sit on one. That's the home objective.
Really
What I
interesting.
do, yeah, what I do see a lot of people do is take Lehman Russes instead because A, they're cheaper. B, you can get the, as you said before, like it's about volume. You can get the volume of Russes out, and because they are a smaller chassis, you can actually move them around on the map so they can be rapidly deployed in per se, especially playing like Mech Guard and such. Uh, so I think it definitely is one of those things. It's like I've only seen, like in my area at least, I've only seen Rogel Dawns perform well when it's not a UKTC terrain layout. Outside of that, inside that, it's, and a lot of people like I say up here as well. A lot of people play on UKTC terrain, so it's really dense. And I think in the way that the layouts are laid out with the GW 11th edition, does feel as though they're taking a lot of influence from UKTC, which I think, like I had a bit of a conversation with a few people around, and yeah, we think it's going to upset the Americans a lot, the new Games Workshop layouts. But like I say, the Dawn is a fantastic piece. But I think the Dawn is very reliant on what terrain you play on, because especially in 10th edition, where you can't physically move things around, or you have the famous can it fit through the can the Vindicator fit through the piece of terrain? Sorry, not the piece of terrain. The hole in the paper wall.
Interesting. No, what you're saying makes sense. Yeah, if your standard of play over there across the pond is just different, and it just denies the Rogaldoran from being kind of like the linchpin kind of unit that it is.
Yeah.
In my experience,
Oh no.
then well, that makes sense. And you know what? I kind of like that, if I'm honest.
Yeah. It adds variety.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I don't. I mean, I have some thoughts around Imperial Guard that they just probably just gonna upset Imperial Guard players. I just think they're too good. As a faction, I'm definitely a narrative first guy. Oh, Omnissiah Sphinx. Welcome to the chat. Saw your message a bit late there, but yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Where's my green wash? Because I've just made the cardinal sin of putting paint with washes, or trying to mix paint with washes instead of actually getting 3 washes. Hellion wash and peppers. Where's my green? That's not my green.
Just gonna like mix in some gray to this armor color and just kind of do whatever. I'm just gonna kind of like go off vibes, just add some lighter areas and some darker areas. I'm just not gonna think about it. That's the new strategy. That's the new. Just go.
Yeah, go for it.
Go off your gut. Add some variation and then cover it in Nuln Oil.
Yeah.
You don't play Age of Sigmar, do you, Warpforged?
Not at this moment in time. My story of Age of Sigmar is long. Like I have my first ever battle report from first edition Age of Sigmar on my channel, where it was Stormcaster. Like it was when it was just fresh out of the park. I do wish to come back to it, but only because my partner wants to get into it with Nighthorn and the Cities of Sigmar. I said I'll hold off because Chaos Dwarfs are quite an entertaining fort. Going back to Sylvaneth is quite entertaining because March of the Ents, why not? But Cities of Sigmar could also be quite fun, especially if the Cog Fort is what it is. And they showed off the Cog Fort, and then they brought in the Knights on foot, and I was like, you got me. You've done the double whammy. And the guys with the giant axes, all right, nice. That's a nice spicy cherry on the top. Like, oh, yeah, okay, you got me. You got me. I'm having some Cog Forts. I'm having some Knights. And then she gets a spoopy skeletons. So I'm thinking about coming back to it, but I've kind of really restricted myself to say I'm playing with just friends because I have a history. Oh dear.
Nice. Those Cog Forts, they've won me over. They're
Yes.
just cool, man. They're just cool. I want to see like an orc player do something like that. I think there's ripe ground there for orcs. It would be a gargantuan hobby project to like adapt it. I think.
Yeah.
In the way I'm imagining, anyways, where it's just like what is it, Gorkanaut? Whatever.
The Gorkamorkanauts,
the Titanic, the Lord of War, the classic orc Lord of War. I'm thinking of like that aesthetic, but applied to a walking fortress.
Yeah.
Right? I think that would be immense. With some weird orky cannons and it could be really cool.
Absolutely.
It could be awesome.
Absolutely. Like I think like what would be a really fun terrain idea is if you got 4 of them and actually built a castle on legs. and like use them as like the 4 pillars kind of thing for a castle, like a small house moving castle kind of thing.
Oh,
But yeah,
yes.
no, absolutely.
That is fun. Not practical for like regular play, but for a narrative set piece, that would be immense.
Yeah,
Pretty peak
exactly.
stuff. Then you gotta siege this
Indeed.
mobile orc fortress. What an abomination. Love it.
Absolutely. But yeah, like I say, like I just like usually when it comes to fantasy things, I look at the undead because I love a good undead. I like, you know, I'm a vampire. Like my spirit horror animal is the vampire kind of thing. I love my vampires.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually like 8th edition fantasy. I played vampire counts and such. However, my friends shotgunned that army of Soulblight Gravelords. So I'm like, okay, what's next? I've tried my history with Sylvaneth. I enjoy the idea of them, but yeah, they just didn't really. Well, that was what it was. And so I was thinking, right, I want to do something new. I know there's a few Skaven Tide box sets, and I do want to get the box set with the Stormcast Eternals and the Skaven stuff because I think both models in like the launch box are actually quite really cool. But I was just sat there going like the Chaos Dwarfs look great. I do admit they look really fun. Chaos Dwarfs, they've got artillery, they've got Minotaurs, they've got Bull Centaurs. Sure, you're getting this back in, you're tasting it. I'm tasting it. And then but I was saying like I'll wait until Cities of Sigmar get a few more things, and they just won me. But it's one of those things where it's like when I have a little joke with friends where just saying when I get into it, my main opponents will all be death. So I've got a friend who wants to do Ossiarch Bone Reapers. I've got my partner who wants to do Nighthaunt, and I've got a friend who does Soulblight Gravelords. So you know they get magical, fantastical beasts. You know they get the zombie dragons, they get the giant, scary black torches.
Mm-hmm.
They've got their giant bone things. What am I dude's gonna get? PTSD. A heck of a lot of PTSD.
Yeah. No, I got you. But there's the charm. See, that's like the. I think that's the tasteful outcome of playing the mortal man in fantasy settings.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
However, as much as I like the cog forts, I do think it hurts that vibe because now you're pretty magical too, right? But I know cog forts are like this universal thing that can be allied in like Freeblade Knights or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, so it depends.
Yeah.
How hard you lean into them, right? If you got a whole bunch of cog forts with your mortal men, they're gonna feel pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
But if they're kept humble and they're just like, oh, these are dark times, you know, the army, then
yeah,
I think that theme stays pretty intact.
Absolutely. Like the way I say it is, I love the cog fort. I might get 1 or 2, but I'm not going to spam them. Like to me, the cog fort and how they've made it accessible to so many factions, it reminds us when Sons of Behemoth came out and they made Sons of Behemoth super accessible for everyone. So I'm just sat there going like, I want 1 or 2. I don't think I'll be playing with 1 or 2 in every game, but I want 1 or 2. What I want is my knights on foot. I want a ton of guys just to throw out in screens, and I want cannons. You see that big cannon? Yeah, I want 3 of them. I'm gonna play. You know, if I'm fighting against giant dragons and the horrible and death and monstrosities, I want a cannon for that.
Yep. No, I think I align with that. You have a couple in your collection. You don't have to use them every game, but they're there.
Yeah, absolutely. Should I call him done? I feel like I should. Otherwise, I'm going to be on him forever and ever and ever. Amen. Yeah, I've washed down his base. I'm calling him done. Just go wait for the base to wash. So I did on stream, folks. It's never been done before. I finished a model.
Nice.
Hey, that's nice. That's in 2 nights. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I'm gonna actually, you know, it is. Got him done. He's ready for games, and that's great. So that's 2 models done. So now I have to look at what my next model is going to be. I'm probably going to do this guy because he's sub-assembled still, and I hate leaving sub-assembled models. I want to get them painted, so he's probably going to be next. Anything to avoid doing all those flesh corpses on King Luke. And then after that, we'll try and do. I want to definitely get my not Huron done, but I need to record him because I record building them and such. So it's only right I record painting them. So yeah, we'll give this one a try. Anything now is just an extra added success. But I am quite happy with him, and I'll take a few photos once his base dries and just share him around.
Sweet.
Quite happy with that. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Ah. Right. Okay. So I'm having a look at this model because this model's quite detailed. He does have
Moving
a
on
lot.
to your next character.
Yeah, I'm moving on to just another generic jump lord that I've made that I printed. Just because it's sub-assembled, I've got to paint the jump pack separately from the actual model. And I don't like leaving models in bits because knowing from past experience, usually when I get around to painting it, one or the other's bits is missing. So I'm like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing that game no more. So.
I get that. Definitely been there before. I hope
Oh yes.
my Yndrasta, because my Yndrasta's in that situation, like a whole bunch of bits. Like, oh, I'm gonna combine all of these and I'll leave them aside. So hopefully everything's still intact.
I get you. But yeah. Like I look forward to having a game with when I can afford it, of course. I look forward to actually starting Cities of Sigmar and getting to do Age of Sigmar with my partner. I think that will be fun. She can and then scare me for once, as opposed to for me being the Lord of Terror with my Night Lords.
Funny. The tables have turned.
Indeed.
Jeez. Butterfingers over here, don't mind me.
I hate when that happens when you mess up. It does annoy indeed.
Oh, there was like another article on Warhammer Community. I should look at that.
Yeah.
Another one. Yeah, I think there was 2 from this week.
All right. Yeah.
I couldn't help but poke fun at that Vanguard veteran.
Oh yeah.
It's not bad, but it's not. It doesn't capture like my excitement. You know?
It could have been more.
Yeah, and I think it's just.
Yeah.
I think that's where the comedy is in that meme I posted, where it's like they're the same picture from The Office.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, I mean, I think my view's rather skewed because I've bashed that much, but I just look at that and just go, right, that's a canvas. See that jump pack? No, I'm not having round on my boxy marines. No, I'm not having round shapes. No. we're getting Mark II in here. We're going to have turbines. It's like I remember when Space Marine 2 showed off like the first artwork and you saw the jump intercessors before you saw the models there with the jump packs. I'm like, that's what they're going to look like. No, I'm not having smooth tactical. No. We're having boxy. We're having box. I literally went to Games Workshop website and ordered like 30 of just the jump packs. I've still got them in a bits box somewhere. But I'm like, when I come around to going back to my Templars, and I'm going to do like 30 jump intercessors because rule of 3, right? They're all having the box. I'm giving them boxy jump packs. We're not having anything else. It just looks right.
Yeah,
round. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I don't hate the new aesthetic of the jump packs. I just feel like I know this is my bias and vibes showing here, but
yeah,
I get Vanguard veterans sure have not always been defined by, they can have simple weapons that are just master crafted. But
yeah,
I can't help but feel that the Vanguard veteran is associated with access to the more exotic war gear items.
yeah.
And I just wonder if public opinion would be different on that initial preview if that sergeant had a Thunderhammer Storm Shield or 2 Lightning Claws. And I feel like if just those weapons were different and not the common sergeant weapon we've seen on every Space Marine sergeant post 8th edition, like plasma pistol with power sword, if it wasn't just the same thing again, if people's excitement would be much more captured, and then you'd get more like hype because you're like, holy shit, look how good those lightning claws look, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So it's just kind of surprised by that, but like I see your point. Like, yeah, it's still like a canvas for you to do whatever you want with, and I think that should be like the hobby mentality regardless. But insofar as product as shown, get excited. That I think that my point kind of stands.
Yeah. Like, I think for me, it's just like my expectations on start set things of Space Marines is always low because they're going to be bland because people are going to want to put upgrades and all that on them. And they know that. So it's like, I'm kind of like, I've already kind of like braced for, like, I wouldn't say bad models, but mediocre models. So my brain's already in the mindset of, it's a canvas. I'm going to make these, how am I going to make these distinct on the table for my opponent, in the sense that they look different from normal jump intercessors, so that my opponent can tell the difference. For example, like guaranteed, like Raven Guard players especially, they'll have like a squad or squad of 2 Vanguard veterans and have like 3 squads of jump intercessors, because they look, as you said before, because they're the same picture. How are you meant to differentiate them outside of the pose, potentially?
Well,
so I'm
I
just
would
thinking,
say,
right,
I would say war gear would be like so. I think you're right. You should keep them simpler so people can impress upon them the change the helmet, change the backpack, whatever, right? And if you're a real if you really want to go the distance, you could even get into the sculpting your own heraldry on there and kit bashing different accessories.
Oh, absolutely,
belts and trinkets and trophies and all of that. But I think the war gear could still be more exciting, and thereby you'd have you still have that canvas to build upon, right? And if you don't like that war gear, well, you change the arms anyways.
Yeah.
Right? There are plenty of ways to get plasma pistols and power swords in the existing range. That's kind of more, now that we're talking about it, I'm thinking about it more than just making a meme based on my gut intuition. Yeah, I think, that's where the dissatisfaction comes from. Like, you want your new 40k to bring in like new bits, right? Like, oh shit, because you'll have those people that are so passionate that would see like the option to acquire twin lightning claws on a more modern look or whatever, or on the modern models, the modern sculpts, and they might buy the box for that. I'm sure you've heard those people like, oh shit, I'm gonna buy the starter set just for that, those 2 lightning claws, right?
Yeah.
Because then people are, get excited or whatever else. Right?
Yeah.
And you just don't have that with that one pre-good model, anyways. Now we'll see if there's others in the unit that have different war gear. Because it might be like the Sternguard veterans, where there's one guy with 2 lightning claws.
Yeah.
Which I could see.
No, absolutely.
Which I could see. But I would have put that guy front and center, or made that guy the sergeant.
Yeah. Like, I have a feeling that the ones in the launch box will be just, here's your pistol, here's your sword. But I feel as though they'll separate it out from the multi-part kit, which will have all the other weapons on top. That's just how I like. That's my gut feeling towards it. But that's only because we've seen the reveal trailer. We've seen like more of them in the animation, such flying around with just swords.
You're probably right. I think there's a top-down mandate for those animations to like represent a product exactly. That's what we've seen since they started doing these animations for launch boxes. So yeah, you're probably right about that. I think if they all have swords in the opening, they'll all be plasma pistol and power swords. Which is like if you're a Dark Angels guy, it's kind of awesome, right? Because you're like plasma pistol and power sword. That's my vibe, right? Like fuck yeah, these Vanguard veterans they're perfect. They couldn't be better, right?
No, absolutely.
I guess Blood Angels are agnostic on war gear in that sense. They just care more about the jump pack more than anything else, in terms of like thematic flexing.
Yeah.
But yeah, for Vanguard veterans, where you're like, let's see the saucy war gear. Give me 5 guys with Thunderhammers and Storm Shields, or 5 guys with Lightning Claws.
Yeah.
And then if the easy to build starter set ones are, they're all mix and match. Because if I were to guess, all the weapons would be master crafted power weapons. Some agnostic stat line, right? Without war gear variation. And then you might have one guy can replace his master crafted power weapon for twin lightning claws. You might have something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does leave me a little dissatisfied. Not that I'm like looking to field squads of Thunderhammers and Storm Shields, but if I was, I can kind of like accept, or I guess I can begrudgingly sort of hand wave away the loss of variation on axe, power sword, and power maul into master crafted power weapon. Like that's fine. But I think the line is drawn at Thunderhammer. Because they're not just... Even on a naming convention side, it's not just power and then the weapon type and how it's named.
Yeah.
You have such a hard distinction between Thunderhammers and the rest. And so if I wanted to be a person... If I was, let's say my Salamander, my Space Marine chapter was really into squads of flying Thunderhammers, that would leave me dissatisfied if I could not have that option. We'll have to see. But I'm very curious what that kit will enable.
Yeah. Well, I think like for me, it's like I would say like I think it's going to be like the Stern Guard, where it's like in the launch box you only had heavy bolters and bolt rifles. With a few combi weapons, but then in the actual multi-part kit, you've got a variety of combi weapons. And you've also got the Pyre Blaster, the big heavy flamer, like the flamer within a flamer thing. I think that's what might happen with the what do you call them, Vanguard veterans.
Yeah,
so
you're probably
one,
right.
maybe 2.
The whole past behavior, the kit's future behavior thing. You'll probably have one guy in the squad that can switch to a Twin Lightning Claw or Thunderhammer Storm Shield, and the rest will be mastercrafted power weapons of varying aesthetics, probably. Kind of like the combi weapons are effective. Sad to say, the combi weapons have been reduced to just varying aesthetics.
Yeah.
So you might have that, like, oh, this guy has an axe, this guy has a sword, this guy has a cool maul or something. Let's see here. Oh, Omnissiah Sphinx says, anyone watching the astronaut splashdown? Oh, the Artemis mission? I have not. I'm not watching it now,
No,
obviously. But I will probably check out a video after the fact. That's cool. Big into
yeah.
NASA, SpaceX doing space things. Big into space things, basically. I support that. I think that feels good for humanity. You're like, oh, look at this. We're amazing. I think that's a good feel.
Indeed.
Omniscience Sphinx says, I feel like they are slapping firstborn heads and and shoulders on Primaris Marines and calling it new. There's a bit of that. I get the perception based on the Adepticon preview and the way they edited the Intercessor, the new Intercessor, and even this Sergeant for the Vanguard Vets. I get the impression that GW do feel the helmet swap will be exciting enough, right? And personally, I don't think it is. For me, it's not. The overall culture, I don't know, it's hard to say, because like I post a meme and it gets a ton of excitement and feedback, so it's just people echoing that sentiment, usually, right? It's a little bit of pushback. But yeah, I get the impression that the GW just thought that they could kind of get a pass with excitement. You know, classic helmets are back, but it's like we've always had the option to put classic helmets on Primaris. We want you to do it. We want to see them represented that way, but that shouldn't be the bar. Omniscience Sphinx, thank you for $5 super chat. Very much appreciated. Thank you for supporting the channel, Omniscience Sphinx.
Hey.
Says, speaking of power hammers, I want to put a Grey Knight Baby Walker hammer on my Death Guard Demon Prince. Well, isn't that sacrilegious? But look, if the Grey Knights, hear me out, if the Grey Knights can take demon swords and use them, why can't demons corrupt Grey Knight weapons?
Exactly.
Right? That should work.
We all love Corruptor-Wish.
Yeah, it's a very satisfying way to. Actually, you know what? For a demon's army, or even Death Guard in this case, that is a satisfying flex. Even it's a little tongue in cheek, a little BM in a fun way, I think, where you're like, hey, look what I've corrupted. You know, it's like when the orc player has eluded something from your army, and you're like, hey, look, what's that? What's going on over there?
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. I'm a big fan of those kind of meta narratives within play groups, or even just like the broader community online, right? Like I put a slain demon prince on my Hive Tyrant space because I'm like, wouldn't that be rad? And then it's like
absolutely.
You know, it's a meme. It's like a little narrative.
Indeed, every casualty on your base tells a story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on my Tyranid bases, on my High Fleet Vanguard bases, it's almost always either Blood Angels or demons, because I feel that strongly about the devastation of Baal going the wrong way. Should have been a Tyranid's victory, I think.
My friend who loves Shield of Baal would definitely agree with you.
Oh,
she's
surprised.
Like, I've got a friend, like, you know how certain players, like, you know, like when we're going about Badab, you know how there's like specific dedicated groups who just do nothing but the Badab wars kind of thing, and just try and like translate the Badab campaign into like the current rules and all that. She's the same for the Shield of Baal.
Okay.
She absolutely loves the campaign. She absolutely feels the same way, where it's like it really did a deja vu into an unknown back alley in its narrative. But she loved the idea of like the Leviathans at the gates of Baal, the Blood Angels are meeting their end here, kind of thing. And so she themes all the stuff. around the Shielded Ball with her Imperial armies. I know she does like a few Space Marines, but they're like, you know, Blood Angels and successors. She's got a bit of guard for like what do you call it, the ball PDF or whatever, and just like paint it up like that to make it look as accurate as possible to the Shielded Ball. I think the only thing that doesn't look like Shielded Ball is a Tyranids, where she's painted them like Starship Troopers bugs, where it's like, yeah, give a pass there, like it's Starship Troopers.
I'm fine with that. And honestly, that's refreshing to hear. Good on her.
Yeah, it
good on
is.
her for being
Indeed.
a lady of culture. I feel like the devastation of Ball is such a compelling scenario. It almost feels like a classic 40k story in our more modern. It's not new.
Yeah.
It's like 8th edition or something now, but
It's not Armageddon yet.
Yeah, I would count it as a new 40k still, even though it's older. But the framing feels like a very classic kind of 40k scenario, and I guess that's why it annoys me so much how it ends up concluding. And I'm not necessarily annoyed that the Tyranids are outstaged by the demons in the story. Spoiler. But I mean, there's a bit of that. I won't lie. It's like I like my Tyranids getting some flex, but I do dislike this idea that you have this compelling scenario, but it doesn't bear consequence.
Yes.
Right? It does in the most soft manner possible. Right? The Blood Angels are completely decimated, but thankfully you have Primaris reinforcements to shore them up. Right?
And then Gulliman came to save the day.
Yeah. And it just feels so distasteful from that sense, because you have, in my opinion, a pretty tasteful setup. A very tasteful setup for the Blood Angels to have an awesome, grim, dark story. It's really one of those what could have been. I think it could have been like a great point in lore that is always referred back to, the fall of Ball, right? Even if Chaos came in and subverted the Tyranids, if you have a scenario where a first founding chapter suffers a meaningful loss, that's always going to be a big deal, and people are going to be like, holy shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, looking back now, Acadia felt that way at first, but looking back now, it's like I don't really feel the loss of Cadia at all.
Yeah. Because it doesn't feel like there's been any consequences to the Imperium. It's like the Vigilus and all that. It's like Vigilus to me felt like a toy marketing program rather than actual like lore. I think for me it's like, okay, this is me showing my old grognardiness. But it's just like when they make the campaign books, I'm just sat there going like, it doesn't feel like a good story. What was a good story? Imperial Armor books. Can we have these new campaign books, right? Can you not make them like as you do? Can you just make them like Imperial Armor like they were before? Just make them like Imperial Armor and then just have, a separate booklet for your rules and detachments and such as you do. But give me Imperial Armor lore back. Give me that detail. Give me like those little bits in between. Give me that feeling again. Because like the current stories and such, like the Arcs of Omen, I like the idea of it, but it like
Toy
there's
marketing.
A reason why.
You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
Yeah, there is a difference, and it is a very difference where it's like big difference between like a story like Vigilus, which everyone's forgotten about, and which is meant to be this galaxy-wide altering environment because it's got that many special characters
the most important I get it.
Yeah. And then you have the Siege of Rax, a campaign that was finished centuries ago by the time Cadia fell, and people still remember that rather fondly as opposed to say like Arcs of Omen. Like, Vashtor came into the fold, and then what happened? And he started piecing together bits of Caliban to make his own pseudo Eldar craft world, I guess. You know what I mean?
You know what? Like, I have a little. I'll tell you. like I have a sort of soft spot for Vigilus. I think it could have been something impactful
Yeah.
as well, but of course it's in the execution. But I think you've pointed out something. I'm going to probably carry this going forward in conversations with people. I think Arcs of Omen is the best example of campaign is for toy marketing, because Arcs of Omen is framed as the most important thing because they have new board and actions to sell. And I think that's where it's a great example because of that transparency.
Yeah.
You're just so like, oh, it's super crucial. And then now it's like, oh, remember that? Whatever happened to all, you know?
Yeah, it's like, and it's just, it's other things as well, like little narrative moments where it's like, I feel like there's some form of depth that Games Workshop are missing. But then you've got little blatant things that just take you out of the suspense of disbelief, like compare Khan versus Mortarion at the Siege of Terror versus the Lion versus Angron at the Arcs of Omen. So you've got a fully Demon Primarch Mortarion beat the snot out of Khan, but for some reason the Lion can just bash Demon Primarch Angron's head in with the Emperor's Shield. Just, nah, fam. Like, I know he's good, but is he fighting Rage Incarnate good? No.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's something like I'd expect a good standoff between, say, the Swarm Lord or an evolved Swarm Lord versus Angron. The Lion can take on Abaddon. I don't see him taking, Angron is a cannonball. He's like, in many respects, he's like Wazdaka. You just send him one direction and he will go and he will cleave. Until like, say, Legion of Titans stop him. There's a reason why it was said it took 100 Grey Knights for him to be banished into the war from the First War of Armageddon. That is a lot of Grey Knights, you know what I mean?
Yep. No, I'm with you. I'd have a hard time believing Prime Lion could beat a Demon Primarch. Like, there needs to be a benefit to becoming a Demon Primarch, because the trade-off is your soul, right? You're trading your soul. Yeah. So there needs to be a meaningful benefit for becoming a Demon Primarch, and you'd think that benefit would be that you're super strong and no one can kill you one-on-one, right? Like, it would take another Demon Primarch to wrestle you down, or, like you said, 100 Grey Knights doing, like, banishment rituals, right?
Yeah.
And even then,
or Legion of Titans.
They're not fighting you head to head. They're trying to, like, use magic and wizardry to, like, put you away. So it's not even like they're beating you at the thing you're good at. So it really feels distasteful to me when you have Old Man Lion beating Angron, Demon Primarch Angron. It's like, oh, man, I know you want to sell toys, but you gotta respect the cost of the Demon Primarch.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, it's just, it's not even a sword, it's just a sodding shield. Like, it's just a mental image. Oh, why? I can't see it. Like, there's a reason Sanguinius beat Angron, but that was. It's not that Sanguinius is one of the best fighters, but there was a lot of reasonings behind that. But then you took on, like, essentially Demon Primarch Horus, and he stood absolutely no chance. Things like, like when it comes to, say, Magnus, Mortarion, Fulgrim, and, even Pat Rabo and Angron, these aren't just people who couldn't straight out of Demon Primarchhood. They're also ones who have said, relatively speaking, because, the warp, they're ones who have spent 10,000 years with these powers and have been sorely corroded, like their soul's been corroded into the caricatures of chaos.
Uh-huh.
They are the deepest, darkest reflections of themselves now, but they have a handling over their own newfound power. And you're telling me that some guy, so you're telling me Mr. Old Man Johnson over here, he's just woken up and he's just went, right, I got a fancy shield, whack, whack, whack. That don't fly, fam. You know what I mean?
100%. I agree. It's it's just a true mark of like, yeah, it is a campaign and story is for selling of
Yeah.
toys.
I tell you
It
what it
feels bad.
reminds me of.
Sanguinius can get a pass just because
Yeah.
from book one he was like the best of us, and we know he dies, so you want to give him a, and you know he's gonna like die terribly, tragically to Horus. Even before that book came out, we knew it was gonna be dark, right? It's gonna be tragedy.
Yeah.
Tragedy City. So you can kind of give him that win. It's easier to justify.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. No, I tell you what it reminds me of. Mortarian's heart.
A little bit. A little bit.
I got choice words for that one.
Yeah.
Well, I got
cringe.
choice words for that.
The word cringe comes to mind. Like, my God.
I got stronger words than that.
That's fair.
I still remember reading that as a kid when the Grand Codex came out, and I'm just sat there going like, nah, like okay, Mr. Gary Stew. So once again, going back to it, a Primarch can't beat Demon Primarch Mortarion. Can't beat him. But this guy, Caldor Drago, can just go whizzing around and just scribbling the entirety of his previous Grandmaster's name into Mortarion's heart. I'm just sat there going like, and the fact that they doubled down on it as well. It's like, okay, you didn't double down. Yes, because they made an actual Space Marines novel called Mortarion's Heart. They doubled down and properly made it into a novel. And I'm just sat there going like you know, the story about the sister's blood and all that, how you kind of just quietly put that under the rug. You really should have done it with that as well. Yeah. That's not
pretend it didn't happen. Dude, I would even go so far as like there should be a lore master, and obviously if you have like a proper lore master aiming to make things as tasteful as possible, you would have less of these like Mary Sue outcomes in like various books and stories. Like it'd just be more tasteful on the whole. I would assume if you know you have the right person in there with integrity. But if you had a lore master, I would say just retcon it. Just own it. Own that you did something that was lame. The critical sphere, guys like, you know, me, I guess, and similar and bigger channels that kind of lean the way I do, would probably give you more credit. They'd give Jilly good kudos for just being transparent. I mean, like, yeah, this was a lame story. We're striking it from the record. You know, it's a fun what if going forward. Because you need to respect the power scale, and you can't turn the, I don't want to say mascot, it's not the right word, but you can't turn the big daddy of any of the legions into a laughing stock. Like, that should be a red line that, oh, this isn't passing the editors. We're not publishing this.
You know,
because it doesn't respect the standards of various factions and the people who are rallying behind those in the way sports fans do, right? Because there's a bit of that.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to call it tribal. There's a tribal element to it, but there is a bit of like sports fanery around factions in 40k, and you can't have Calgor Drago beating Mortarion in 1v1 if that's how it went down, and then even further carving his name or the initials of someone else into Mortarion's heart. It's so absurd, and it becomes very much like, well, my guy did this to your guy. Like, it's very schoolyard, very juvenile.
I mean, the way I see it is like, would like someone who did their own homebrew, would they get away with it? No. So why is this character who's allegedly been always here but not really? Why does he get away with it? Like, what? There's got to be some form of trade-off. It's like, I remember they did a little story. It wasn't like a proper story until it was just like a little snippet of like Codex lore. But I still remember there was a story where Dean Primarch goes up against I think it might be in the Death Guard Codex actually. The Dean Primarch goes up against Mortarion, and even he has to back down and retreat because what Mortarion's great strength is his decay and entropy. He can stay there forever, and he will slowly corrode that iron into rust. And so, because they were both, yes, because if I remember correctly, they were both fighting over some artifact that they both wanted, and ultimately Mortarion got it. And the only reason why is because he can, he can basically decay anything, and the Death Guard can decay anything, including the unbreakable iron of the Iron Warriors. And it's just like that shows you like the level of power difference, and you're telling me like, oh look, like what's he gonna do next? He's gonna he's gonna get Fulgrim and start riding him like a pony snake. You know what I mean?
Well, honestly, like that's where that path goes, right?
Yeah, indeed.
You know, it's like what's this great guy gonna do next? Right, that's what it becomes. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's maximum cringe, damages the setting. Yeah, and JW knows that. I think that's why they don't talk about it. Oh, I would like to think that until we have another story about Mortarion's heart and how he's wounded by it or something. Oh God.
We're waiting now. We're waiting with bated breath. Oh God, I'll never get over Mortarion's heart. Just like, ugh.
Yeah. It's damning, right? Like that's a damning thing to publish for your.
Yeah, absolutely.
For your setting and the fans of that setting.
Indeed. Never forgive, never forget.
Omnisci Sphinx says, originally it was Angron that fought Yarick, and Gazgul did a revenge war for the death of Yarick. Yeah, that sounds familiar. That was from last year's Armageddon campaign, I think. Yeah, because... Yeah, that was a Armageddon campaign about demons taking over Armageddon. So now... Yeah, Look, admittedly... I'm not keeping tabs on the state of Armageddon over the course of 10th edition, now going to 11th. So, I just might not be privy to all the details, but I just feel it's just such a mess with Yark coming back. I do really feel like Yark should have... you could have killed him off and still given him a new model. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think Games Workshop, sorry, like, keep repeating myself here.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a pretty clear, like, refusal to only sell product if character is alive in the setting, but then also to force that character to be doing something now, as if it's, like, the most important thing ever. And...
Yeah.
Current Games Workshop has kind of proven that they can't meet the classics of their forebears in terms of like the campaigns and stories they're telling, which is a hard task, admittedly, because like classic things feel classic for a reason. So I don't want to say like I don't want to poo-poo the effort, because I don't know. I assume to a degree there's a lot of people just trying to do their jobs, and it's always been my dream job to write for Games Workshop, and there's probably a lot of pressures internally that don't really allow you to do what you'd want to do anyways.
Yeah.
But that's why we have the outcomes we have, and why I think it'd just be better to release Yarick. Even if you kill him off, release him, and make the Armageddon campaign book in the past. Why must it be like, it's happening now, again, and it's the most epic it's ever been, right? Like, I think of the Leviathan 10th edition, 4th Tyrannic War. That's what it was, 4th. Yeah, 4th sounds right.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing ever, and nothing was buried out of it, except for a few worlds that were lost that didn't exist prior to this lore coming out, right? Like, you don't feel any weight to it at all. And you can even think of the Silent King as well, right? Like really, if there was a lore master again, it would really Games Workshop would really benefit from this. If there was a lore master when the Silent King came out in 9th edition, there should have been a push to have the galaxy be different at the end of Ninth Edition. So
Yeah.
going forward, the impact of the Silent King returning to the galaxy, which is like this Omega level being
Yeah.
returning, there should be a tangible change to the state of the galaxy map, right? Like, you know, it kind of felt exciting when you saw in 8th edition Cadius destroyed and now the Great Rift has bisected the galaxy. Not knowing
Yeah.
how they would execute it, the excitement is like, holy shit. This
Yeah.
we're not in Kansas anymore, you know? Like this is crazy. And then
Yeah.
well, it was kind of squandered. That's pretty fair to say.
Yeah.
Looking back,
keep
with
going
benefit of
back to it.
hindsight,
It's like, yeah, like the way I see it is the Imperium shouldn't be at Cadia anymore. Like I understand what they're trying to do, but it's just like there's a story in the new in the latest the Iron Warriors campaign book thing, the Eye of Terror, where it's like the Iron Warriors are coming out the Murden Guard finally, and they're bringing the great companies out, nice, and they're turning on the Black Legion conclaves on the Eye of Terror. Like, yeah, okay, they're coming out in force. They're showing like we're going to get this done our way. We're going to come to Terror. We're going to get it sorted our way. I like that. That's pretty cool. I understand that there's like some remnants, but it's like you've got like things like the animations, which are like saying, "Oh, the guard are doing pilgrimages to Cadia." Why? It's dead. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you'd think. Yeah, dude. I was talking with Northern Exile and Matt and Outer Circle about the Silent King earlier this week, and I was that this topic came up and it really resonated with me. Where I'm just like, man, there should be a different galaxy map post 9th edition where the Silent King has basically carved this out for the Necrons and now it's another warfront. So you have Imperium Nihilus, Imperium Sanctus, or whatever it's called, the good Imperium, the Lost Imperium, and then you should have a section for like the Necrons Dominion, and now that's another warfront that's just in lore ever encroaching, and now you have to dedicate. You know, sure, the Lion has come back, but maybe he has to be dedicated to keeping this at bay, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And because that hasn't happened, the Silent King, this Omega level being, feels so weightless in his consequence. Omnissiah Sphinx says...
Pharaonic Wall.
Yes, exactly. I agree about that. Omnissiah Sphinx says it feels rushed. It feels rushed, or it's a second thought to bring back older players with nostalgia. Probably. There is certainly an appeal to nostalgia. The Outer Circle did a timeline video a few months ago now, and I thought it was very accurate. And he kind of quantifies the 8th edition onwards era, the nostalgia era. And it feels not so much in 8th edition, but really as we've kind of pressed forward into 9th and in 10th, it feels very apparent. Like there's a lot of appealing to nostalgia, right? Like, you know, 10th edition, a new Tyrannic War happens, and it's not a new High Fleet like with every other. That's the trend with Tyranids, right? It's the last High Fleet gets usurped and outdone by the next one. With each Tyrannic War, that's the precedent. And the 4th Tyrannic War is, Leviathan again still. Why? Why is that? You'd think there'd be a new, better one, a new Tyranid scheme to be the poster boys of, you know, the faction, like with every other, you know, first Behemoth, then Kraken for the second, and then Leviathan for the third, but then Leviathan for the fourth too. Why? Because we know what Leviathan is. It's an appeal to nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's pretty evident. Armageddon, very obvious for the 11th edition box set. It's an appeal to nostalgia. They even did the comparison to the box art. Even the box art's an appeal to nostalgia, right? So I think that's another one of Outer Circle's, you know, kudos to Outer Circle, I guess, on that one. Another one of his predictions, because, the nostalgia era is pretty real.
Yeah. Like, I think for me, it's like, there's an issue with that. There's also an issue of continuity with the characters. Like, I personally like the fact that Yarek's back. That's fine to me. I
I'm
have
fine
no
with it.
issues with it.
You know, it's
I think
not
my
surprised.
main gripe is mostly a case of how does he come back? Because the last thing I remember was during the Third War of Armageddon, he goes off the Black Templars to hunt for Ghazghkull. Totally understand that. Let's get some action in there. But it feels as though there's been a massive time skip between that and his imminent demise, where he's now fighting against Ghazghkull reborn now with new Frankenstein's body, and Ghazghkull absolutely crumps him. He does an Abaddon, what Calgar does in Viserys, where he's about to kill him and then suddenly wanders off. And then a wolf priest grabs Yarek's mortally wounded remains and then resurrects him. And I'm just sat there going, like, why are the wolves now taking over where the Templars should be? Why are the wolves here? No, stop this. Like, I'm happy for my Space Wolf friend that wolves get a shout, but like,
Well,
Yarek's a Templar.
I think I have an answer. No, I agree with you, but I think I have an answer to your question there, Warp Forge. I suspect, like you mentioned earlier, a very prescient point. So kudos to you on that one. The narrative is just a background to sell new toy, and based on my diligent research in the Dawn of Fire series, the Space Wolves have been kind of pressed towards fighting orcs. I think the Space Wolves are forced in over the Black Templars because it'll probably be tied to Leman Russ coming back. This is my guess.
Yes. I think we're all expecting Russ to come back now. It's the wolf time.
Yeah, it should be the Black Templars, I agree. But Space Wolves because probably for the wolf time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
like I say, it's just like when it comes to these characters, we need a bit of continuity. Like when was the stopping off point? Like this is a story you could expand on, Games Workshop. You know, where was the stopping off point for Yarek getting off the crusade with the Templars, and then suddenly tracking Ghazghkull on his own, or with the Space Wolves, or whatever. This is something that needs to be a little bit more explained, because if Games Workshop are so forward with their direction of following characters now, then you need that continuity, because people will want to quite literally follow that character. It's like if Gulliman didn't just came back and didn't have all and they didn't make it build it up in the Gathering Storm book, and they just said, "Oh, he's back. Eldar magic, have fun." That would upset, that would upset a lot of people. Same thing goes with Yarek. Like, he's got this now. His new model's got like the Templar cross to represent that he's been on the Templar Crusades with other high-ranking officials. Where's that story? Like, as a Templar fan myself, and I do love the Old Man of Armageddon myself. Like, give me that. Give me that. Stop taking away my things to the Vikings in space.
it's also just weird. I mean, I agree with you. The Space Wolf. I don't know if the Space Wolves should care about Yarek. I feel like the Space Wolf in this story. Now, I didn't read it, so you correct me. Right? I'm just gonna do some assuming. I'm gonna assume the Space Wolf in this story cares about Yarek because the readers care about Yarek. Because I don't really think the Space Wolves should care about humans, even prodigious mortal commander Yarek. Like, they should think it's cute. I think at best most Space Marines should think that kind of stuff is like, you're trying your best. Way to do, buddy. That kind of should be the norm at best. And then maybe the Salamanders care a bit more. But even then, as a Salamanders fan, I don't like it when it's too over the top with their adoration. The Salamanders cry tears for mortals. Okay. It's a bit much, I think.
Yeah.
When it gets to that
They're
degree.
Not that humanitarian. Yeah.
I don't think. Should the Space Wolves care about Yarek? I don't know. What's the steel man of that? The Yarek is. They know how important Yarek is for the the Imperial Guard. Maybe that's like the best Steelman you could make. I just feel like in a grimdark setting, like you gotta lose your heroes, and I think the mortal ones especially so. It should be like this was inevitable. It's tragic, but this was inevitable, of course. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If he's brought back, I guess I'm not so much put off by him being brought back, but I do think it's less tasteful than if he remained dead. I'm kind of iffy on it.
Yeah.
Kind of iffy on it.
I think, like I say, it's one of those things where it's like it needed to be a thing that was executed with taste. The issue with his initial death in the 9th edition Codex was more due to the fact that it was just an off-screen death for such a legendary character that not only they made a model, but they had entire lore campaigns based around him. They also had an entire omnibus based around him. The people are invested in Yarick, and you just went, yeah, he's dead, get over it.
Yeah, no, that's excellent point. Yeah, you've convinced me on that. They should have, if they're going to kill him off, it needs to be the heroic, it needs to be meaningful. It needs to be for something. It can't just be like a end times, oh, everyone's dying, isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
Like, even then, I don't think it's elegant.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like, imagine if Abram Gaunt died because, say, there was a lucky shot from a grot and shot him in the back of the skull. What do you think the fan backlash would be from that? If it was just off screen, no lore book, it's just a little bit of snippet in like Guard Codex lore, just saying, yeah, he's dead now. A grot killed him. You know what I mean?
Nope. I mean, yeah, I do know what you mean. You gotta put some respect on their names if you're gonna give them a farewell.
Yeah.
That checks out.
Like, I'm still in the mindset that, like, as you said, like, I'm still in the mindset that Abaddon should have killed Calgar.
Oh, yeah.
And I know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a bad man for saying that, but yeah.
No. Here's the thing. I want it to happen because I love Calgar. Because I love that idea. I think it gives Calgar, this legendary guy, such a... It's the most interesting thing that happens to him. That's why I love it, right?
Yeah.
Because this idea that, especially in the timing, like if you think back to Vigilus, like in 8th edition, Primaris is new. It's the new hope for the universe. Like, oh, Imperium's back, baby. Indomitus Crusade. Calgar's going Rubicon. It's over, right? He gets a new model. It's over, right? Like, fucking the hype is real for Calgar and the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
To then put him against Abaddon and have him actually die becomes such a symbolic loss and symbolic, win, obviously, for Chaos, right? It's, I think, something... It's almost like there's a timeline shift. And now we are where we are because Calgar didn't die. It's almost like that's significant in my heart anyways. Because I just think there's the meta context in our world around Primaris and even in narrative, like I said, with the Primaris being like the new hope for the Imperium, the strongest Space Marines ever, 2 wounds, they're so strong, right? Like, you have all that bullshit intermingled in Primaris, and then for Calgar to die, it's so meaningful. And look, you still give him a model, you still make him legal for play. There's nothing wrong with having historical battles. I mean, people play Horus Heresy, right? There's nothing wrong with having like, oh, this guy died in the lore, but I can play him, right? It doesn't. We're playing a game here. We're not playing a narrative. If you're playing matched play, it doesn't really like matter who's fighting who. You have loyalists fighting loyalists always or constantly in matched play, right? So if you're playing narrative, then like leave Calgar at home because we're playing a narrative that's past that. But if you're not, fuck yeah, bring legendary hero Calgar. He's awesome. He died fighting Abaddon, like the big bad of Chaos. Now Primarchs are coming back. It's harder and harder to frame Abaddon that way. But at the time, I really feel like that loss would have meant so much.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I kind of hope it happens again, especially now Calgar's in the correct armor for me. He was always in Terminator armor. We don't talk about the Primaris grab suit. But now he's in Terminator armor. I just want him to go toe-to-toe with Abaddon again, and Abaddon just go, yeah, no. Here's Thracian right in the heart.
But better late than never, right? Because
Exactly.
I really do feel the most interesting thing that could happen to Calgar is probably him dying. And then you have someone else take the mantle of, passing of the torch. The times are changing. It's like a mark in the sand, right? That, oh my god, even Calgar fell, and now maybe that means something for Ventress, or maybe that means something for Sicarius, right? Begrudgingly taking on the mantle, that kind of situation.
They'll just put it on Titus. They'll put it on Titus.
I would hope not, because I kind of like Titus as captain. He doesn't have like the unilateral like authority of. I actually, I kind of like where Titus is right now. I don't hate it. I know it's like he had a little mini model before, and now they gave him a real model, and people were kind of like hemming and hawing about it. But I don't hate it. The only problem was there was all that extra Ultramarine stuff as well. That I think kind of people are getting fatigued by the Ultramarines because Calgar got a new suit for no reason. You do have a point that it is the correct armor. Well, Calgar had like a power armor option before too, right?
He did.
So he's been back and forth between different armors.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like, for me, I just remember, like, I still remember when I was younger, getting into the game, seeing Calgar on the covers and such, and it's like, he's in Terminator armor. That's him. As soon as they put him in Gravis armor, it was like, as you said, I think a lot of the nostalgia pandering as well is because of the age-long backlash towards Primaris Marines. I like it didn't bother me that Calgar got another model in the Terminator armor because it was in the Terminator armor. Had it been any other armor, I might have been going, really, GW? But because they've actually put him back into that Terminator armor, I was quite pleasantly happy with that because, that's something I'd go out and buy. Like, it's a little secret shame. It's like I accidentally stumble across like Ultramarine characters and buy them, and I've got Sicarius and Lieutenant Titus up there.
You're less bothered by it because the Terminator armor is more to your preference, effectively.
More to my preference, but it's the armor that I remember him in.
Yeah.
It is a bit of nostalgia bait in there, but it's just like, God damn it,
works. It does. It does. Look, I fall into nostalgia on like many, even outside of 40K.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug.
Indeed.
Omniscience Sphinx says, I'm into the Raven Guard lore. I'm not sure. I'll assume you're referring to the chapter mastering because we're talking about chapter master Calgar here. The Ethan Shan Cave-In Shrike switcheroo. I think it's tasteful. It's hard for me not to like Ethan Shan because the model is so balling.
Oh yeah.
I feel happy. It's so good. I'm happy for the Raven Guard, if that makes sense. Like I'm like, fuck yes. Same with the guy on bike. Jubatai. The new one. The new guy.
Yeah, the bike character. Yeah.
Same with him. I'm so like, yes, fucking get it, guys. Fucking do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ethan Shan Shrike being an interim chapter master, fine. It is a switch, but I think it's fairly tasteful in how it's executed. Shrike was one of these guys who that was always his lore. He was a begrudging chapter master, which feels grimdark in its way. It's like, damn, I must take up the burden of command, right? So it kind of makes sense to eventually replace Shrike with someone who's like wanting that purpose. Though it is kind of funny that the chapter master of the Raven Guard, Ethan Shan, new chapter master, can't work with units. Like he's a lone operative guy, but Shrike can.
Yeah.
He can lead units, but he doesn't. It's kind of like a weird kind of rules interaction there with the lore. Kind of, you'd think it'd be opposite. Like Shrike would be the lone op guy now that he's no longer chapter master. So there's a bit of dissonance. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
But on the whole, yeah, it's. I don't hate that change with the chapter masters for Raven Guard.
Yeah. No, I get you absolutely. Like the new chapter master Cave and Chan is great. Like I've kept Bashta and Ethan Chan for one of my Night Lords characters. It is just such a good model. And I'm quite happy with how it is. But then again, like to me, it is like comparing night and day when it comes to Cave and Shrike and the Ethan Shan, because I still can't get over the fact that they put him in Phobos armor of all things, and then gave him the Bully Maguire. I'm like, if I was a Raven Guard player, I'd go out my way to completely kit bash that in more Mark 10 armor and give him more of that like old Firstborn aesthetic and appearance. He's not high techno, drop the Skrillex Bully Maguire. I mean, I'm not having that. You know what I mean?
I get it. I'll let my bias show here. I don't mind Phobos armor. I like Phobos armor much more than Gravis armor, even though I think Gravis has like an appeal for those Chungus chapters, right? The
yes.
Fists, Salamanders, Iron Hands. I think, yeah, maybe they would want to be even bigger and tougher and more durable, right? So, but that aside, I like Phobos armor in the limited use for scouting and those kind of units that aren't supposed to be the loud shock assault for more of the subterfuge type scenarios. I do think it makes sense. I've never, I know this might be heresy, I've never really liked scouts being these like elite units. To me, it really feels like, yeah, your Space Marine scouts are the future of your chapter. They should kind of be precious, because if memory serves, I don't think you can even harvest a gene seed from a scout. I think they're too young. I might be wrong on that, or maybe it's changed.
Yeah, you might be right. They have, they have organs, but they don't have the gene seed yet.
Yeah, or it's like, there, but it's not harvestable, so you can't like recoup those losses. So, like, to me, I think Phobos Marines solve that for me, if and for whoever else that's an issue for, because now you can have your 10th company, like, oh yeah, they're the Reavers, the Infiltrators, they're all sneaky boyos, and given how Shrike likes to roll, I can understand putting him in Phobos if that's an option. Yeah, it's gonna be dealer's choice though, because like you said, there's the nostalgia factor for classic Shrike in the classic armor, and if you like that and the loud Raven Guard kind of, I am the shock assault guy with twin lightning claws, that theme is hurt by the Phobos sneaky theme, right? Yeah, this is very interesting. Very interesting. That's kind of like my best counter defense to your point. But that's look, fair. I'm not trying to frame it like a debate or anything. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
That's the other side of the coin. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Don't worry. I just like, for me, it's just like the thing that does it for me for Phobos is the leg armor. I still can't get over it. It just looks like jeans or like shorts, and I'm like, I can't. I just can't. I can't say anymore. I just literally can't.
If that's like aesthetic preferences, you don't have to justify it, right? Like it's totally fair. It's gonna be like anything. It's different strokes for different folks.
Indeed, agreed.
And if you don't like it, you can just. I mean, nothing's stopping you on the rules side from just saying like, oh yeah, these intercessors, I've given them the the Phobos backpacks and helmets, and now they are my infiltrators. You just take your standard Mark 10 and be like, yeah, they're sneaky. See, you see, they got the little backpack and the different helmet.
Yeah, no, I get you. It's like I don't mind scouts myself, but at the same time, like I remember how they looked like when they were older. The older models, and I absolutely hate them because they look derpy then. The new models are alright, but I'm just sat there going like, I get what you're saying because like playing the Black Templars, like we have Crusader squads with essentially scouts for a reason because they are trying to teach the younger blood.
Yes,
they are literally doing a one-to-one mentor kind of
100%. I like them in the Crusader squad for that reason because there's like you said, the mentorship of it, the brotherhood, and like teaching the ways of the blade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I think it's like a tasteful implementation of scouts, honestly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like scouts in narrative scenarios, but if I'm like, it's weird because I know match play isn't for narrative, despite GW wanting to make it so. But in a match play point of view, I can't help it like even take the narrative framing where I'm like, okay, I'm going out to war. I want guys for different jobs, and I don't want to throw scouts away. I don't want to screen a World Eater's charge with scouts because it hurts my soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just throwing away the future of my chap. Like, no, why would I do that?
Yeah. Yeah. What in the Imperial Guardsman is this? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, but in a Crusader squad for Black Templars, yeah, it's pretty peak.
Yeah. And I like it. I think the Templars were a good calling for me for starting any Loyalist chapter. So originally I was searching through and I was thinking, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, and then Templars was like, I forgot these existed. Ha ha.
Man,
and I never looked back.
Templars are a base chapter for a reason. I think I've told it to you before. They are a strong exemplar of the 40k Space Marine relative to the 30k Space Marine, right? You really get a sense, right, of this is 40k. Like this is Space Marines plus religiosity, right? They're excellent in that regard. And I kind of wish, not kind of, I would have preferred a 11th edition box set to be a Black Templars versus Dark Eldar.
Yeah.
And then you still get the nostalgia bait. You still get it.
Yeah. You still get it. Indeed, indeed. Yeah, but what happens in 12th, right?
You're not wrong. Oh, God, you're right. You're probably right. It depends. If we see no push to, like, update Dark Eldar in 11th, you know what I mean? Then I think it's very likely. Yeah. But if we start seeing like new Cabalites and new witches, etc., then I think it's gonna be like less likely.
I've heard that there is meant to be a push for new sculpts for Dark Eldar, I don't know if it's going to be complete range refresh, but I've heard that there is talk of a big Eldar push because I think they're trying to get Asbrutal Vect out again. Because they've got Lady Malaise out, and it's the pattern I've seen with from like say 2018 onwards with 8th edition onwards, is that they'll throw 1 or 2 models out to get a feeler, and then like 3 or 4 years later they'll bring out the rest of the range. So like for example, we've had the new Archon model and Lady Malaise, which I was quite happy with because yes, we have a 5th edition character come back, fantastic. Good props for
win.
It's a win. Yeah, Lady Malaise, and I'm thinking, right, those are the test bed models for like the range refresh. It's like how many times, like when we got, I'm trying to think. There's examples and they're just escaping from my mind, but they've done it like with in Age of Sigmar as well. Definitely for Age of Sigmar. They usually come out like 1 or 2 models, or like they'll have one Codex release where it's just nothing but heroes. And then the next Codex release, they just do it in swathes. Well, it's like how they did, I think it was 1 or 2 Phoenix Lords in 9th edition, and then in 10th. I thought they were going to drip feed them across the editions, but no, they just came out with all of them bar one.
You're not wrong.
You know what I mean?
That was my assumption as well, and Games Workshop surprised me in that regard. I thought it would be like, oh, you're going to treat this like Primarchs. 1 per edition, right? Or 2, maybe, right?
And then they just went, right, here's the swing hammer, like, whoa! Right, okay. You surprised me there, G-dubs. It's just, I wasn't expecting the Eldar. Like, I think now most of the Eldar range is refreshed now, most of the craft worlds now, especially the Vipe and such. It's just the War Walkers, I think.
Yep.
Could be wrong on that one, but the War Walkers.
Yeah, there's like some firing platforms. Like, those are very support.
Yeah.
I even want it like. Yeah, so support platforms are old still, and the Warwalker, you're right. And then, you know, the Wraith Lord is showing a bit of age, but I don't think I think the aesthetics are so strong on the Wraiths that they can kind of get away with it.
Yeah. Especially on the Wraiths, absolutely.
Eldar designs have aged very well in that regard. Even like the Wave Serpent, I don't think it needs a redo or anything like
absolutely. That. No, absolutely.
Well, look, time has gotten away from me, Warpforge. Definitely hung out longer than I extended, or longer than I intended, rather. You cool with wrapping up? Well, I mean, I'll wrap up the stream.
No, absolutely.
You're by all means, you're free to hobby, of course.
Yeah, of course. I'm all right now. I've done a lot. I've managed to finish a model, and I've gotten through a lot of blocking in on this new jump board. So
right on.
Yeah, I'm quite happy.
On my end, I've just been chipping away on these characters still. They don't look that different from where we were earlier today, but I swear I've been painting.
Yeah, fair enough. That's all that matters, really.
Let's do the outro thing. Thanks to everyone who tuned in and shared in the hobby camaraderie. Special thanks to Warpforge also for hanging out, and of course, guys, check out Warpforge's channel. It should be linked in the description. If it's not there, I'll add it in afterwards. There might have been a switcheroo with a template on the stream start, but I'll rectify that. Also, special thanks to Omnisci Sphinx for supporting the channel with a super chat. Very much appreciated. And I think that's everything covered. Until next time.